The language of animals and nature. Animals communicate in the universal language of telepathy. Telepathy is the transference of thought from one being to another, one mind to another, without the use of words. It is the language of energy. The literal translation of the word telepathy is tele, distance, and pathy, feeling. It is a direct transference of thought from one person, the sender, to another, the receiver, without using the usual sensory channels of communication. Hence, it is a form of extrasensory perception. Intuition is the basis of animal communication. This type of telepathic and intuitive communication naturally occurs within the plant and animal kingdoms. From animal to animal, plants to animals, plants to plants, animal to human, and also from human to human. For humans, a common experience of telepathy is that the sense of knowing who is on the other end of the phone even before the phone is answered. An example of communication in the wild with the animal kingdom is when a pack of wolves are hunting a herd of elk. They communicate with each other as they select which of their animal in the herd is going to be their prey, and they all know which one they are targeting together. In the plant kingdom, trees share water and nutrients through the networks and also use them to communicate. They send distress signals about drought and disease or insect attacks, and other trees alter their behavior when they receive these messages. In our home or domestic environment, our animals are always speaking to us. Sometimes we are aware of their communication and we are able to respond. Other times we respond without realizing that we have received their communication. An example of this might be that you will stand up from your desk and walk towards the dog's bowl to fill it with water, only to find that she is sitting there waiting, panting with thirst. Somehow you just had the thought or the idea to go and fill up the water bowl. Perhaps that was a message or a signal sent from your animal to you, and because your heart center is opened to receiving the need of the animal, there is a bond of love. You are able to hear the message from your unconscious mind. We use our intuition to receive the incoming information telepathically, and so once the energy is received, it is processed into the translation of the receiver. This is the part where it is important to translate rather than interpret. If interpretation occurs, the message can be overlaid with the receiver's own beliefs and projections. Telepathy is perceived within the quantum field, and therefore physical proximity is not necessary. Each being of consciousness emits a unique energetic frequency, which is made up of thought wave patterns and emotions. A domestic animal that has been taught certain commands in the language that is spoken in their home will have an understanding of those words through their conditioning and that language, but they will not necessarily think in that language. Animals and nature rest more in a state of being rather than thinking, and that state is an expression of their unique energetic presence. We have much to learn from the natural world, especially when it comes to being present. Telepathic communication and receiving information intuitively is a multi-sensory process. It is a process that tunes in with all of the senses, especially and including that beyond the five physical senses, our sixth sense. This incoming energetic information comes in through the unconscious mind of the receiver and is then filtered through the cellular memory, vocabulary, mental database, and stored life experiences. It can be sensed as a vision or mental image, a feeling, an emotion, sound, taste, or a very clear and direct knowing. Once the internal translation process has occurred, the conscious mind then becomes aware and translates the unconscious intuitive information into the understandable words and phrases of the human language. The process of interspecies communication is very common amongst our ancestors and native cultures. It is very natural for all of us, however, most of us are a bit out of practice. In shamanic tradition, respect for all spiritual beings that inhabit this earth moves well beyond animal forms. Shamans believe that plants are also sentient and that they can speak to us. They call to us if we listen. By listening to plants, shamans have intuited the kinds of plant medicine that can heal on mind, body, and spirit levels. Animal and plant spirit shamanism brings us back to our ancient roots of being aware of the unity of all of life and of treating animals and plants as sentient beings with love and respect. Shamanism is embedded in a framework of cosmological beliefs and practices. All life is essentially spirit, and spiritual beings are a part of Mother Earth herself, made equal, connected, and with a purpose for being. Human and non-human animals are sentient beings that have to be respected. Every animal is revered for its wisdom, guidance, and purpose as an integral part of nature, regardless of its shape, color, or brain size. Sentient comes from the Latin sentient, feeling, and it describes things that are alive. A sentient being can feel, perceive, and sense things. They have an awareness of surroundings, sensations, thoughts, and an ability to show responsiveness. Having senses makes something sentient or able to smell, communicate, touch, see, or hear. All sentient beings have an awareness of themselves. They can feel happiness, sadness, pain, and fear. Animals and plants are sentient beings, meaning one that can think for itself and is self-aware of its individual expression in the universe. Every bee in a beehive is aware of itself and its purpose. Every tree in a forest is aware of its surroundings and of its own needs and own life. We are always dealing with an individual, a unique being of consciousness that is sentient and present. Our modern culture mostly regards speech language and the intellect as our highest forms of communication. As a result, many of us have lost touch with this natural ability to communicate intuitively with other species and life forms. To engage in this type of communication, one must tune into the frequency of the being that they intend to communicate with. It is necessary to still the mind, and it requires intention, focus, sincerity, respect, and empathy. It is very much a process of the heart, as it is the mind. For those who would like to relearn this natural skill, like anything learned, it will require practice. When the intuitive muscles have not been used for a long time, they will need to be exercised. One thing you can know for sure, however, is that we all have this powerful sense that we call intuition. There is much research and scientific studies now available that demonstrate the sentience of plants, animals, and their subtle communications. Books such as The Secret Life of Plants, Tompkins and Bird, or Dogs Who Know Their Owners Are Coming Home by Rupert Sheldrake, and many other more are wonderful examples of the scientific research demonstrating telepathic communication and the sentience of all beings. You could also take the time to be still and observe the natural world. Marvel at the intricate intelligence of her stunningly designed ecosystem and experience these dynamic connections for yourself. Intuitive and telepathic communication is available to us all. It is a power of mind and heart that we are blessed with at birth. Our modern culture has led us away from trusting our intuitive sense and given much more merit to our analytical and reasoning mind. This is a skill that we can relearn and remember with some proper guidance and some practice.